I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby. I am delighted to introduce this panel of amazing artists in this industry. So exciting. First of all, Nkechi Okoro Carroll, who found Peter Hoar from The Last of Us, Mimi Leader from The Morning Show, John Hoffman from Only Murders in the Building, and last but not least, Sterlin Harjo from Reservation Dogs. Folks, my first question is this, and I'm going to go probably to John first of all. Because even though this doesn't apply to you, I think it's something that we've all been through. How challenging is it in this day and age, with so much amazing work that's out there, to stand out in a crowded and chaotic marketplace of content and distraction? Is the worst fate for you to do something that you love, your labor of love, and it just gets ignored? Or would you rather people love it or not love it, but hate it? What's more upsetting?
Okay, I'm nervous I'm going to be the first one up because I talk a lot. So jump in, really jump in, everybody. But this is a tough one because I've certainly been in both camps, and I like both camps, truthfully. I like the ones that are done for love, and the ones that are small and that get either not seen by enough people, and I love it still even more later. It was a project I worked for HBO on a show called Looking with Murray Bartlett, by the way, Peter, and I concur about Murray Bartlett and the beauty of him. But yeah, that, and that was a heartbreaker in many ways when it had to come to an end, and it was all done with such love. But it's no secret it takes a small village to really make something stand out beyond what hopefully you've brought to it. It's a concert that has to come together, and you just hope people believe in it enough to invest in the way that it needs to be seen and brought forth. And I can't believe it, honestly. It is not where I sit naturally, truthfully, to think big mainstream sort of hit of any kind, but it is a rare air that I understand that feels incredible to sort of have this opportunity. But and I never really know. I'm making the thing, so I don't really trust when people say it's a thing. So I'm just trying to keep head down and just say, you liked it? Oh, great. And Mimi, you were saying before, I like, in my mind, if I could, we'd finish season 3 with Meryl and Paul and everyone famous in it, and we would all just come together, and I would show a screening of the whole season to that crew only, hand them DVDs, and just say, go put that on your shelf, and that's all we need to do, and it doesn't have to go out to the world. Once the world comes as a whole other thing, but that's not the way it works, but it is, and fortunately, it's been a lovely ride here.
When you have done so much, or when you have done different shows, and it's like your children, you love all your children. You can't love them less, one more than the other. And when we did The Leftovers, when I did it with Damon Lindelof and this extraordinary group of artists, we were critically acclaimed. People loved the show, but people didn't see the show, and it hurt, and it wasn't recognized. And it really was a profound piece of work. And it was like someone doesn't love my baby, but the experience of it was, life-changing. And that's what you take home with you.
I think that's why we all do it, right? I think it has to come from a place of love. I mean, getting a TV show made is just I'm raising 2 kids, and I'm still there is nothing like show running shows and getting them onto TV and what it takes to sort of make the whole thing work. And so it has to come from a place of love. Otherwise, none of us would be standing at the end of it. And so, you kind of take that with you, and you hope people enjoy it, and you hope people get out of it sort of what it gave you to put into it, but you sort of have to just let it be that, and then move on to the next thing. Because truly, none of us are really in control of whether our shows, as much as we would love to think we are, we're really not in control about whether our shows become hits or critically acclaimed or lots of viewers or no viewers. We just kind of have to do what we do and do it with love. And then you hand over your child, like Mimi said, and you're like, okay, please treat it kindly. And then you go raise your other kids.
Yeah.
What about you, Sterling?
Yeah, I think there's degrees of love. There's
favorite child, right?
exactly. I love Reservation Dogs. I mean, part of it why I ended was like, I couldn't imagine someone coming to me and saying, yeah, time to wrap this up. It's dragging on, like should have ended 2 seasons ago. I mean, that would have been such a personal attack to me because it's like based on my family. It's also like this cultural, like tight wire walk that I'm doing of like, trying, I felt that pressure, like showrunning's hard enough, but then there's cultural pressure of like, do not screw this up,
You didn't
And-
screw it up.
Thank you.
No.
It's brilliant.
Thank you. And then, but then I have other shows that I still love, but they won't, like I wouldn't go to war for them, like like it's okay if they don't get made or they're not a hit, but like I love them, so yeah, there's degrees.
And the same goes for you, Peter, right? Like,
Well, I mean, look, I'm not as a luminary as my colleagues here. I've been a jobbing director for most of my career, and most, and most of it is like, oh, what? Somebody wants to give me a job? This is great. What is it? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll do it anyway. And so that excites me. And then, and like you've been saying, Nke was saying about love for the medium. I grew up with TV and kid of the 70s, and before Star Wars and even after Star Wars, I still watched TV and told everybody how brilliant it was, and nobody believed me until now, because this is where it's at, and I've just always loved it. I've always loved its intimacy and its storytelling, its long form, and so I do think that the love. I think I put the same amount of love into everything, but because I love the medium and love the story, but it doesn't always coincide with the way the rest of the world is ready to see it. And I mean, actually, I mentioned to you in our little chat about It's a Sin that I did years ago, and that came out during a lockdown for COVID, and it's about a killer virus, HIV. So we were like, nobody's going to watch this. Nobody wants to see this right now. And we were very wrong, because they did, and they bawled their eyes out. And I think that's becoming a theme. I think I like making people cry. Hope not around the production meeting table, but
you did that, that's for sure. I love film, don't get me wrong, love movies more than anything, but TV is where it's at. You're so right. TV.
Well, we were talking about stealing things, right? And the weird thing is, I'll go to a meeting and pitch a show, and I will steal everything from from movies. I will be talking about Spielberg and Scorsese and Fincher and all of these great people that I love. I really love. But I don't want to make those films. I want to make those TV shows, because that feels like the narratives are more akin to me. They make sense to me. And sometimes, and also, I don't know about you guys, but how does anybody get a film made? It's just crazy. It's like, unless you are, a great luminary like Mimi, then maybe you can walk in and say, I want this movie and I want it now. But I just don't know how anyone does it. I really don't. It's crazy.
I was just going to say, when I'm directing a TV show versus a feature, I actually do not approach them any differently, at all, except for maybe what format I'm going to shoot it in terms of how I want the framing.
Right.
If you're shooting the Supreme Court, you've just got to, not be in 235. You'll never see it. But, I think storytelling is storytelling.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
So let's talk about representation and inclusion on TV, because it comes up a lot, and I'm looking at the five of you and thinking that who better to talk about it than with you. Despite all the progress that we've seen, what more can the industry do for communities like Black communities, Indigenous, LGBTQ, and others? I think all of you could speak to women leading their shows like Nke and Mimi. Who would like to regale me first? Perhaps Nke. What do you think?
I mean, look, I am a Nigerian girl who grew up in West Africa, who's running 3 network shows right now. Like, that would not have happened, 10 years ago. So I'm a benefactor of the progress. And I'm also one of those people that's like holding the door wide open, because I'm like, while I'm here, let's go. Like, let's get as many through the pipeline as possible. And I think that's the thing we need to continue to do, is not just to sort of kick the door open for ourselves, but to hold it open for the next generation. You know, all of my fellow writer producers on my show, everyone who works in my production company, understands that mentoring is a requirement of the job. We must train up and bring up the next generation. If someone is coming off one of my shows or coming out of one of my writers' rooms, whatever show they land on next, they will not be able to say that they can't produce their episodes, or they don't understand TV, or they don't understand character. It's important to me because I don't know, this world changes every day, every day. And I don't know, you know, you never know when the pendulum is going to swing. And so I feel a responsibility, and quite frankly, it's just something I also love to do, to make sure I am sort of bringing up that next generation in a way that will allow for their longevity and their voices in this industry. And I think that's how we get these diverse voices and these diverse storytelling. And it's how we end up with, you know, women like Shanola Hampton, who's got beautiful dreadlocks leading an NBC show as an anti-hero. You know, there's so much that I hadn't seen in TV before, even just a few years ago, that I see so many people doing now that I'm inspired by and in awe of, and I'm trying to achieve as well. So there's been progress made. There's still a long way to go, but I think we're how we do it. And we can't just kind of do it for ourselves and chill where we are. We've got to bring up that next generation with us.
Right. Yeah, I think that, you know, on my show, we created 5 or 6 new TV directors and writers. I mean, first time doing it. And like, you know, I think the proof is in the pudding, you know, the project. And it's like, but there is a problem I see of, it's not about diversity box checking. It's not about having a department to make sure that you take a meeting. It's about real opportunity, you know, and that's what we gave on the show, was real opportunity. And you know, I also am holding the door open and trying to get as many people in there as possible. You know, it's like, and it wouldn't have worked if I just hired my friends because they were native. Like, I hired talented filmmakers, but you have to do that work. You know, we're not all in Hollywood. We're not all in New York. We are in the places that hire us, and in the places where we can get funded. And for me, it was in the middle of the United States in Oklahoma. Like, that's where I got funded, and that's where I made all of my work, you know, and everyone else is a part of their communities. And I think that outreach is good, and learning who is out there is good. And, you know, we're in this place where we all can tell stories now on our phones or whatever. And there are really great storytellers out there, you know. And it's the same with casting. I mean, it's like, I had a project that was killed at one point, and Showtime was going to do it. And I had an executive producer on that. This is like 15 years ago. And I had an executive producer on that show who backed out in the last minute because he said, there's no way you could, and he's a very well-known director, has a film out right now. And he's like, there's no way that we could cast a native show. There's not enough actors. And it's like, yeah, there's not enough actors if you're doing it on Hollywood and an open casting call. But if you go into those communities, there's talent everywhere. And that's what we did with the show. We went into communities and we found these actors, and a lot of them had never acted before, you know, but we provided them opportunities. And we didn't just randomly put anyone in the show. We picked talented people that had something to say and that could perform. So I think for me, it's about opportunity. It's about, and I think sometimes whenever we're just giving people an opportunity for a meeting, or it is a diversity box check, then it's always kind of like proof to the higher ups, like, yeah, they're great, but they're never gonna, you know, like we'll just keep doing the meetings, you know, that's what we need. But it's like, true opportunity means finding talent. True opportunity means giving them the tools to do what they do best. And I think that's what you're seeing right now. And so that has longevity. That's not something that ends quickly. Like, that has longevity. And each one of those people that I helped in the door, they have their own shows, and they're going to be pulling people along with them as well. And that's how it works. You know, I think it's an exciting time.
And it's great business.
Right.
You're talking about, like, if you want to speak in terms like everyone understands, it's great business. Yeah. It's not an altruistic thing. It's not like being socially conscious. It's factually the thing that is going to keep our industry growing and make our storytelling just so expansive that we're pulling in more audiences. It's just plain out good business.
Yeah, it's opening door, and then true representation is what it feels like, being true about that representation. We're in a show in New York, but I remember, Sterling, you just reminded me, it was like, there was a moment when, you know, in season 1 of our show, we had an episode that was drawn from mainly from the POV of a deaf character. And in casting that part, I remember, well, good luck, you know, finding the actor that can pull. I was like, what? I'm in New York, you know, but I was happily with like a wealth of incredible talent, and then watched this magnificent thing happen with this actor that played the part, and with the episode itself. And just as you say, Nk, it's like that episode made more noise than anything in the first season, because it works, and you recognize something you haven't seen maybe in that way before, but it's true. It's very valuable.
That thing that the execs will always tell you, it's like, you know, there'll never be $1 billion movie that's led by a woman and directed by a woman. Oh, wait a minute, I think it just happened. You know, there'll be a great movie that will win an Oscar with a deaf lead.
It's true. It's true. There's always a rule that someone made that just gets broken all the time.
all the time. And it's like, I mean, it's sickening, really. And it does feel like, I agree with Nk about, you know, like the future is there. It's there to be found and to be seen and to be encouraged. But there's also that element of business, which is less palatable, which is the risk taking. There's less risk taking in such times as we are in now. And so they'll look at the choices and go, oh no, that's too much of a risk. I don't know about that. I wouldn't know, you know. And I've been sent many career projects. I'm amazed and wowed by the beautiful stories that I could be possibly telling. And now I am immediately, within how many months of success with 2 shows, then it's like, we're not doing that kind of thing anymore. I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay, fine. Right. So I heard that recently, like, you know, like from someone saying, yeah, you know, they're not doing Reservation Dogs stuff anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're not
making good TV anymore. Like,
we're not experimenting anymore. Like the Atlantas and the Reservation Dogs are getting made less and less. It's like, are you serious? Like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what, like everyone just likes a little rule, or like to have to do, you know.
Yeah, it's weird. Agreed. Mimi, final word for you. What do you feel about the representation and what it means to the industry and what more we can do?
Well, we just have to keep hiring and bringing new faces and new minds to storytelling, to our worlds. I mean, you know, I only hired one white guy. No offense, white guys. You know, all our directors were women and people of color, and you just got to keep hiring. And I've been doing that since China Beach, when I had the ability, when I became a producer, to just bring new voices. And we just, you know, we have to just keep bringing, you know, the elders, as in Reservation Dogs. Teach the young ones, you know, the young ones, and it's all done through our eyes, each other's eyes, and it's all done through the generation of filmmakers, and it's our job to teach and to mentor and birth these faces and these voices.
Absolutely. Everyone, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for making me laugh, cry, and everything in between. And we really appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love hearing everybody.
Thank you so much. Love all of you.